you have to start a conversation. You have to give out information, because there are things that are facts that our people don't necessarily know are facts. So you have to work hard to get information to your people so that they know what to believe, what to think, because all of us have been overly dependent on media sources, news outlets that are not controlled by black people. And even those black outlets that we grew up with were heavily influenced by ad revenue, which is another way that they could literally control what we did, what we said, even in our own platforms, magazines, newspapers, etc. That's another reason why on this program I have promoted the reading of the Final Call newspaper, because it is totally independent. Our thinking has to be independent, and we have to be independent in order to be able to raise our people up. It's going to require voices that do not bow to outside forces. It's going to require the loyalty of us to one another. Now, everybody is upset at the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Everybody is in an uproar. My great frat brother, Brother Roland Martin, is his head is just spinning around every episode on his Black Star Network. He's going crazy. Everybody is like, wow, we have to resist. But the thing is that you need to grow your own food. See, America is a racist country, whether you're Democrat or Republican. America is a racist country. Understand this. It's the greatest nation on earth in terms of its power and economic, but it is racist. It is anti-black at the criminal justice level. It is anti-black in the penal system. It is anti-black on all major news networks. It's anti-black. Its education is anti-black. So the idea that you would sit here and love something that hates you, be so upset. And let me just tell you what I believe this reaction is with the attack on DEI. They don't want you anyway. And as a black man, you have to understand that America wants you only in a servant position. Those of you who are in politics, do not sell the lie to everybody else that there's room for all of us in the prosperity of the state of Louisiana, in the prosperity of America, in the prosperity of the Lafayette area, in the prosperity of the Baton Rouge area. They intend to lock you out of viable economics, and you and I are locking ourselves out of viable economics because you don't want to unify. And when somebody does sell you out, you allow them to come to church like nothing is wrong. When a sellout politician tries to come to church after they voted with Landry, after they voted for a prison, you shouldn't let them in the church. You cannot allow sellouts in the black community to be comfortable after they sold out. And either you're going to be free or not. That's a decision that we as a people have to make collectively. If we decide in the state of Louisiana, if we decide in the United States of America that we are going to be free and independent, there is no roadblock that the enemy can put in our way that will stop us if we make the decision. But the only decision that we're making is to go get some Gucci, go get some Louis, go get some Hennessy, go get some Courvoisier, go get some weed. We are not making the decision to be free as a people. And a lot of us older people are not attempting to teach the younger ones what to do and how to act to prepare them for the responsibility that we are all going to face, which is to raise and take care of families and to build black communities. So what I talk to young men about is, don't read the sports page. Read the financial section if you're going to read something. Read something that's going to elevate. It's not, the time is out for debating. And you know, there was somebody who got shot. One black man shot another black man and killed him. And the debate was over whether LeBron or Michael Jordan was the GOAT. And somebody literally died because of that foolishness. I'm just laying it out there. We got to do better. If we decide that we are going to do better, the MAGA people would have to back down. And these are some racist MAGA people and some racist white liberals as well that are trying to take your 13-year-old boy's penis off and put a dress on them. They're racist. They're trying to shut you down and make you accept their transgender thing. So the Democrats want to cut your son's penis off and put a dress on him. The Republicans have the prison system waiting them on that side. And so it's either they're going to be in jail doing the wrong thing, or they're going to be in a dress doing the wrong thing. But neither party has a good plan for your son and your daughter. Neither party. So your boy, all of the talking heads are trying to shame those of us who didn't support the Democrats because Trump is doing what he's doing. Trump was a racist in the beginning. And let me just mention to you this. Joe Biden pardoned his son because he did not believe that jail was good for his son. I'm going to say it again. Joe Biden pardoned his son as well as his whole family with all of the criminal activity they were doing, but he wanted life in prison for 6 crack rocks back in 1990 something. And some people are still doing life and they had less crack than Hunter. But Marilyn Mosby, the very pretty sister that you see on the screen, who is very intelligent also, held white cops accountable for murder. She held them accountable for trying to frame innocent people. She tried to get innocent people out of jail. The sister from Maryland, Miss Mosby, and look at what she's doing. She wasn't pardoned, and all she did was download or take money out of her own 401k, and she has not been pardoned to my knowledge. She hasn't been pardoned, but yet Hunter Biden has been pardoned. So the Democrats, Joe Biden didn't give a damn about you. Okay? So it's not about Democrat versus Republican, and no people have ever voted their way to freedom anyway. The right to vote only works if you are conscious of your own self-interest. Because right there in Baton Rouge, people who are advocating for a new prison that's almost $500 million have been reelected to the council. So what does that say about us and our right to vote? It's not doing us a damn bit of good. It's like a self-hating man with a gun. We end up shooting one another because we're already self-hating. So the gun that we have in our house ends up shooting somebody that looks just like us, and the vote that we have ends up screwing us because we voted for Bill Clinton, who gave us the crime bill. We won the election, but lost the war. Just putting it out there. So it's not about whether or not you should have voted for Kamala or Donald Trump. Neither one of them love you. Now let's get started on the material that we have to cover. Let's start with DEI, if you can. I don't know if you had a slide, Brother Director. But it says right here, Trump slashes all DEI programs and sends workers home with pay. And that should have been workers right there, but the point is that he sent everybody home. I think it was 359 workers he sent home on administrative leave to where they're going to get paid, but he doesn't want them to work at all on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now understand that diversity, equity, and inclusion, that was just a symbolic gesture anyway. And white women received most of the benefit. Very little of the benefit came to black people anyway, but it was symbolic. It wasn't meant to really help us as a people. All right? Now, let's move on to Target. Target, or as some of y'all say in Louisiana, Target, ended their DEI program, falling in line with Trump. Now, we could boycott it. There are a lot of things that we could do to target. It's a situation where we got to decide whether we want to be free or not, and whether or not this diversity, equity, and inclusion crap even help black people. Because at the same token, a lot of black entrepreneurs are selling a lot of different things in Target, right? And the reason that black entrepreneurs have to depend on Target for distribution, Walmart for distribution, is because we as black people and the black community has failed to plan for the future of our people by insisting that we get our own stores. We want Target to include us, but we don't want to include ourselves by having our own supermarkets. I'm going to say this. Our Latino brothers and sisters, many of whom will acknowledge to you that they are of African blood, but the bottom line of it is that they have 5 grocery stores, supermarkets in Baton Rouge. Their population is maybe 20% of what the population of blacks are. How many supermarkets do black people run? 0. It's all about a mindset. Now, the MAGA Republicans can't stop the Latinos from opening up grocery stores and patronizing their own people. The MAGA racist Republicans can't stop that. If I decide to spend my dollar with my brother, there's not a doggone thing that Jeff Landry can do about it. There's not a doggone thing that racist Donald Trump can do about it. But we got to make the decision as a people, because they're coming for you. They always were lying when they said that America was for everybody. And the reason that they are throwing black people all over the country off the voter rolls, because understand, nearly 4 million black votes were thrown out in this election. Now, mostly black votes. 4 million votes were thrown out due to technicalities. And in the state of Georgia, in Pennsylvania, whole blocks of black votes were challenged and therefore nullified on the day of the election that gave Donald Trump some of the victories that he achieved. It wasn't all fair. They threw out a lot of black votes, particularly in the state of Georgia and in the other state of Pennsylvania. Understand that there's a law passed where you can challenge a vote. Any citizen of a county can challenge the vote of another citizen of the county all the way until the day of the election. Now, if black folk in Georgia are not saying, let's use our operatives, since they are throwing out 32,000 votes at a time based upon unfounded challenges, what you do, black folk in Georgia, is you list a whole bunch of white folks that may or may not live where they say they live, and you challenge 50,000 white voters in even counties. Challenge 100,000 of them on the day of the election, where there's no way they can reverse it and have all of their vote. But you're not thinking like that. You're not thinking like a warrior. You're thinking like a punctified Negro that wants to be accepted by your enemy. That's just what you're thinking like. That's the reason that we're whining and crying, because we haven't done a damn thing for ourselves. See, we wouldn't even have to talk about boycotting Target if we had our own blanket. You understand what I'm saying? And we have enough of a population. When you have 50 million people Hell, you got nations on the earth with 2 million people that have their own grocery store, their own education system, their own military, their own police force. You got nations at the UN with 2 million people that have everything they need. And here we are as black people with 50 million of us, and we're begging the enemies of our rise, please help us, boss. That's a slavery way of thinking. And the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, the man who you see back here on the screen, tried to tell you that the black man must do for self or suffer the consequences, because they are racist. Okay? That legislature in Baton Rouge is a racist, redneck ass legislature. Let's just put it out there. They are racist. They do not want your son to graduate with his master's from college and take care of his family. They want your son in an orange jumpsuit. They want your son on that farm in Angola, Louisiana for the rest of his life. They want your daughter to have a mohawk and be a lesbian. Do you understand me? That's what they want. That's what you got to understand, and produce no children or legacy for you and your family. They are trying, listen to me well, to destroy you. You have to face the fact, well, why are they doing it? They want you dead or in jail. Let's just get that out the way. And they'll use a few of us to sell the lie that we all can make it. Do you understand? So if I'm a six-figure earner, I'm supposed to get on TV and tell you it'll work for all of us. All you have to do is work hard. And if you work hard in America, you can get there. I'm not going to sell you that lie. I'm going to tell you the truth. They want you dead. They want you in prison. They want to cut your son's penis off. They want to take your daughter's uterus out and make her call herself a man. They want to confuse you and your children and destroy your future. That's what the Democrats and the Republicans are all about.
Brother Darrell, quick question. You might want to add this. We're talking about boycott. What you think about the Super Bowl coming next week? Wouldn't it have been an excellent time for the Louisiana Black Caucus to make a statement? I'm just asking.
I would say so. Because Lil Wayne and others, they were upset that they were not allowed to perform at the Super Bowl. But with all of the money that you got and all of what you've done for the hip hop world, why would you be begging them? You sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars. Why are you begging them to perform in what's there? The Super Bowl belongs to people who don't look like us. Even though we are the performers on the field, the owners are white folks. Let's just be honest. The commissioner of the NFL is a white man. He's not a black man. The owners are white billionaires. They're not us. We serve them. We are 75-80% of the NFL. We are the slaves on the field. It's a football field and not a cotton field.
So our community gonna lose this.
Yeah,
we gonna lose in the long run.
Absolutely, we're gonna lose. And just throwing the homeless somewhere, moving them out of the way, when the conditions for homelessness were created by the circumstances we were put in. That's the whole reason why a lot of those people, are veterans that are underneath those bridges. They went to Iraq fighting for America, fighting for a country that don't give a damn about them, and they're under the bridge. Now they're being moved by the same country, by the same state, by the same city that doesn't care about them. Now let's move to our brother, another one of my frat brothers, beautiful brother, a top graduate of Georgetown Law School, former two-term mayor of New Orleans. I knew his father. I met him before and his father. Matter of fact, I met Mark Morial in the 80s at an anti-racist rally at a college. That's where I met him. He was speaking at an anti-racist rally. Okay? And that's what it was called, an anti-racist rally at the University of New Orleans. He was one of the speakers at the amphitheater. Beautiful speaker, beautiful brother. And he's now the president of the National Urban League. But our brother still hasn't turned the corner on independent thought. Diversity, equity, and inclusion only opens doors. This is what he said. Now, what doors? Doors to what? Because we can go to Dillard, we can go to Xavier. We don't have to open the door. We can go to Howard. We can go to Meharry. We don't have to open up doors. We can go to Jackson State, Southern University, Grambling. We can already go to our own institutions. We can already go there. So the idea that you want to be included in some place that you are not wanted shows that you're not independent in your thinking, and we are not self-respected as a race of people. Or should I say a nation of people. We are still begging them to be included. Now, some of y'all thought that I would be all upset with Trump for ending diversity, equity, and inclusion. Trump is only doing what the majority of those who voted for him wanted to do. The majority of the country don't want us included. Period. They don't want us. The majority of the country is not in favor of letting us out of jail. The majority of the country is not in favor of allowing us to go to the best schools to get some of the scientific knowledge that we desire. They don't want us over there. They want it to be more white and less black. That's just what it is. Okay? And the whole thing with illegal aliens is all designed to keep the demographic of America majority white for just a little longer. That's what it's about. It is about racism. And Joe Biden, as well as Obama, you know, they talk about the cages that they put the Mexicans in, which was very, very wrong. Those cages were originated in the Obama administration because Barack Obama did what those people told him to do. He functioned as a black face for white racist policies himself. Those cages, now that program of deportation and cages was expanded by Trump, but nobody in the first 4 years of being in office deported more Mexicans forcibly over the border than Barack Obama. Barack Obama was able to get that done because he was a black face used to promote a white supremacist policy. So now, the thing I want to say, and I got to say it, is our brother, because some of the bourgeoisie Negroes, some of the high yellow, and some of the PhD Negroes were not going to get the tenure at the universities that they would desire. So we got to have an emergency meeting for the bourgeoisie Negro. But the poor blacks are in prison. And just because these brothers and sisters are tucked away in small towns, tucked away in Angola, tucked away in the Felicianas, all right, tucked away at Dixon, tucked away at Hunt Correctional Institute, tucked away at in Memphis at that particular federal prison. That doesn't mean that the suffering that they're enduring is not real. They're just out of the way. You got to drive out of your way to get to Angola. But that doesn't mean that what those people are suffering is, the emergency is mass incarceration. So the idea that with all of the millions of people, of our people with a criminal record, is not an emergency, but when some bourgeoisie Negroes might not get their federal contracts that are already rich, already six figures, and the emergency is for them, because DEI does not help the brother that works at Pizza Hut, the brother that works at Burger King, the brother at Taco Bell. You know what I'm talking about. These are the people that need the help, because when the police pick them up, they can't hire a lawyer. If Mark Morial, my beautiful, articulate, intelligent brother, if he is charged, he can hire a lawyer for $100,000 to defend him. But the masses, it's been an emergency. Don't wait until the bourgeoisie might lose a little money to have a whole national discussion and dialogue about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And don't forget what we said on the Community Defender well over 10 years ago. We called it the illusion of inclusion, because that whole program is designed to create an illusion. And when y'all get your little federal contract, y'all try to sell the lie to everybody else that America works for everybody. Well, not goddamn, America ain't working for y'all. Y'all sold the lie for so long, America isn't even working for you. Let's go ahead to the next slide. I don't know what's next. Okay. Now, I want to call your attention to the back page of every Final Call newspaper. This has been on the back page of the Nation of Islam's paper since 1961. What year did I say, baby?
1961.
1961. That's before I was born. I am 57. I'm 57. But the solution has been in plain sight. And y'all want to argue over religion instead of looking at the facts. Now, this is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in 1961. He said, we believe that the offer of integration is hypocritical. Now, when something is hypocritical, a hypocrite is somebody who speaks with his mouth what is not in his heart. A hypocrite is somebody who speaks one thing and does another. So they were letting you know. He was letting you know that the enemy was going to act like they wanted to integrate you, but only to fool you. And then look at what it says. It's hypocritical and is made by those who are trying to deceive the black people into believing that their 400-year-old enemies of freedom, justice, and equality are all of a sudden their friends. It was fake the whole time. We've made so much progress. How in the hell have you made progress where 80 or 90% of your homes were headed by two parents, and now 15% of your homes are headed by two parents? How the hell is that progress with all your men in jail or either with a criminal record and men wearing dresses switching up and down the damn street? How in the hell have you made progress with 400,000 black babies aborted at the abortion clinics in America? When a Negro tells you, whether he dark skinned or high yellow or red or in the middle, if he tells you that, you just know that's a deceived individual. Okay, we ain't made no doggone progress with all these people doing life, and then Joe Biden leaves office, pardons all his people, and then the people who really working for us are left, like Marilyn Mosby, are left under charges. And like Grandmaster Jay. Grandmaster Jay was showing black people that you can use your Second Amendment rights. They went and used all kind of video to trump up charges on him, get a conviction, and now because he's a felon, he'll never be able to have those arms to show y'all how he can't do what he was doing. Because he will have a felony, and touching a gun means what? 10 years in prison. So for the rest of his life, he'll never be able to show you how the Second Amendment can work for black folks. And they destroyed that movement because none of us really spoke up for the brother when the brother got arrested, even though he was working for us. Okay? And y'all can call in, let me know what you think. I know some of y'all are upset at the attack on DEI, but hell, diversity, equity, inclusion was always a doggone myth anyway. It was symbolic. All these universities are firing their diversity, equity, and inclusion staff. Corporations are getting rid of it.
He even got rid of the general counsel of LSU. Liz Morrell had some influence. Mr. William DeQueer, the poison general counsel of LSU. They told him to pack his bag. Right.
Wow. So the first black general counsel of LSU, our director informed me that he was asked to pack his bag. So the bottom line of it is, this diversity is an illusion. And a lot of times when the enemy is trying to sell products, they're trying to sell cereal or diapers. Whatever they're trying to sell to you, they'll have mixed race people, black people, white people, mixed race couples on the website. And it gives you an image that's not a true picture of how America actually is, how the state of Louisiana actually is. It's a racist state. We saw and we witnessed on video, okay, Ronald Green being beat to death on video. Do you understand me? We saw Alton Sterling being murdered on video. We are looking, and it came out, the sexual assaults that were going on in the Brave Cave in Baton Rouge. And then right here in Lafayette, sheriff deputies who believed in the system a brother who believed in the system was so taken aback by the racism, by the lie that a lot of us have lived, that he went on ahead and just killed himself. I want you to look at that. Because in order to make a fair assessment, you have to make an assessment of where you are. In order to go somewhere, that my GPS first has to get my location. Then it plots the course to where I'm going. You thinking that you're equal, that you're a citizen, you only being called a citizen to make you invest and buy into the system. But nobody, we own 0.8% of all the wealth of America. We don't even have 1% of the wealth. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to call in if you got an answer. Do you think the majority race of people in America would go to Iraq, Afghanistan, or Syria to fight under the flag of America if they didn't own 1% of the country? Do you think you could get the other race of people who ought to own nothing and to fight for a place where they own nothing? I don't think so. But if you have a different answer, you can call in and let me know. We own 0.8%, not even 1% of the wealth of America we control. And even that 0.8% is being attacked. They're trying to get you with taxes so they can take land in black areas. You understand me? They're starting fires. They're using arson and everything else to drive you out of the little stuff that you do own. They're trying to gentrify parts of Baton Rouge around LSU. They're trying to take away the whole historic community that you own and use it for another purpose. Use it for their purpose. Just letting you know what they're doing. You don't have anything. And your leaders are not telling you to grow your own food and to do something for yourself and to educate your own people and to stop begging but get something for you. Nobody's telling you that. They're telling you to keep begging with your hand out, which is all they can do. Let's go with the next slide. I'm going to read you something from Message to the Black Man by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just going to read this right quick. This is from page 8. And I want y'all to listen to this. 108. Thank you, Queen. I got people on the set helping me out. It says right here on page 108, says he, meaning God, has chosen the so-called Negroes, who are now called what? African Americans, right? But they, being blinded and made deaf and dumb, have not but a few chosen Allah to be their God. You understand? We haven't chosen God to be our God. Okay. Had that caller to call back. Now, but they will after they see more of his power displayed in the West, and they will see it. It is going on now. It is a must with Allah to restore the lost sheep. We are those lost sheep that must be restored. The condition that we are in, God is going to intervene, but we have to accept the divine solution. And the divine solution is not to continue to beg. It's not how many of us is being hired by Target. It's how many stores that are better than Target that we can open up and own. I'm just letting you know that's what it is. Let's go ahead and take this call. Go ahead, caller, you on the air?
Yeah, man, great topic. Black people was our next move. You just said our next move. Get out of it. Our biggest problem is that you said it again with the mindset. We always believe that we need to follow these people who've been the ones digging our hole deeper and deeper as we follow with them. So our biggest problem is our politicians, the black politicians who've been misleading the black people. And we keep on lining up to go and get them and put them in place. And that's our biggest problem. For some reason, you said about the black churches, where these politicians can go and rest their head after they've been voted against their own community. The black church has been selling out the black people. And we don't understand that because they are tax exempt. Remember the last time this black guy came out against this old Herschel Walker and the Republican threatened his church about taking their non-profit organization money that's tax exempt, and all of a sudden you saw him shut up. because the church said, well, we'll sell our congregation because we need the money for us and our family, not our congregation, no, them and their family, their relatives. And that's the biggest problem with the black people. And you mentioned DEI. Everything these white folks done created, so say for black people, was for them because white folk have been on it. They just so say thought by including us, we would think that we are part of it. DEI have hired more white women, more white people. Even the vice president, J.D. Vance, he got his job from DEI, from the reserve, because black people jump up with fear for us to go up for the next voting poll is to get us up and riled up to go fight for this country who don't believe in us. And a lot of these black politicians that you're showing, I'm glad you expose them, but please expose them to where they're naked so we can really see. Because I didn't like that they got Cleo Fields in there again with all the corruption he was in, but Senator John Woodruff, Senator Vincent Pierre, all these high Negroes in high places is the ones that always make it lose our respect from these white folks. And Ronald Green, you mentioned him. What about Tracy Pellerin? All that was about black people. All that was about our own black so-called leaders selling us a narrative that we got to go and vote. We got to do better. No, we need to leave these white folk fight and let us eat our popcorn and enjoy the show. Because as you can see, Trump is destroying any kind of executive order to rile up his white base that he's really hurting. And they're so excited that they think it's hurting only black people, not really. So when you say DEI and you call it crap, that was the best word for it. It was always crap. Because no matter how you look at it, DEI still had more white people over black people to make us look like we're a minority. And if all it was to give black people a so-called inclusion, not knowing they're still being eluded by the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. These white folks have never been for black folk, but they need the black people to get under their wings and have the numbers. That's what it's all about. And you said Joe Biden pardoned his son, but then he didn't pardon Marilyn Mosley. Because, number one, they don't understand these black people that went after white people. They don't care about them at all. And all biggest thing, look, Trump just released these violent criminals. One already done got killed, 3 other ones that got rearrested, and yet still they pleaded guilty to these charges. We got black people in prisons right now that have all the evidence to say they wouldn't even those criminals y'all trying to make them be. And they didn't even take a plea. Y'all won't even grant them a parole, but yet y'all giving these white people a pardon. So what you're talking about is so true, but the topic is black people. What's our next move? We got to get out of there.
Yeah, we gotta spiritually, economically, and in every way possible divest from that and gain control over those things that affect us. So we got to gain control of the curriculum. I educated a child in accordance with a curriculum I set, and when I and her mother set, that child is doing way better than what the world would imagine. We can do better. We can do a better job ourselves. We can do a much better job than what they get. And a lot of us, I was reading an article about a graduate student who could not read cursive. So when he was doing his research and looking at old records for whatever graduate work, he couldn't even read because a lot of the old records are in cursive. When you go to the census records and you're looking to do research, the people wrote in cursive. And if you can't read cursive, you can't even collect the data. But it shows you that other people decided what our children were not going to learn. And they of people that if you wrote a letter to them in cursive, just write a letter, the same letter you would write your mama, then you give it to them. They would look at it and cannot read it. So we got graduate students that are effectively, in a lot of ways, illiterate because they decided that even though they were educating the people, they would make them partially illiterate by not teaching them a whole realm of writing where they could read it. So when they go and try to look at an old letter that their grandfather wrote their grandma, they can't even read it and can't even get the history because somebody decided it was not important. And it shows you how we don't really control what goes in our children's brains. Other people do. And while we are chasing Gucci,
you mentioned about the Super Bowl. Of the people who watched it and the brokest people, and we're almost 80% of the people entertaining these white folk with no ownership.
Yeah, we are on the field. It's not a cotton field, but it's a football field. The slaves are on the field the same way. It's just a football field instead of a cotton field or a sugarcane field, but we are still out there on the field working for them.
And we got to stop making our children believe that they have to be entertainers, city entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're taking all the education that, so say, what our children should deserve to be reading and everything else. It's about controlling the way we think. Like Carter G. Woodson said back in the day, you control the way a man thinks, you don't have to worry about his action. Look at our action today with all these indoctrinated Negroes who we call so-called leaders on the side of some dumb white people who they know more European history than their own people. And yet they'll come back to us or go to one of their platforms that they hired on to come lie to the people, and they're allowed because nobody calls in and tells these people about their lives. Just because those white folks have lied all our lives to us, that doesn't mean we have to allow these black politicians with their degrees to lie to us too and then tell us we got to do it. No, Negro, we not on a plantation anymore. You stuck in that plantation. Because you're getting paid and we getting paid doesn't mean we have to stay under you. If you want those white boys to fight, go to them. Stop trying to sell us the narrative we're going to told you. So keep talking what you talk, man, but don't ever change the dynamics of what you're saying about what our own black people are doing, because we don't have to worry about the white folks anymore. It's our own black people that is selling us a narrative that we got to go vote. You mentioned Roland Martin. He's the biggest token. All that money Kamala Harris gave him, all of them boys want.
Well,
guys with the fraternities, they all sell out to us. Thank you, man.
Thank you for calling in. The thing I want to mention to you, and of course this slide is up here, and this may be a little risque for some of us, but it says right here, niggas are made in America by the enemies of God. And what that means is that we were turned into a self-hating, self-destructive people that wouldn't trust each other so that we could continue to be slaves. What we are is what we were made into by the circumstances of the plantation and perpetuated by the social, political, educational dynamic that they have imposed on us as a people. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote a book. I recommend y'all try to get a copy, called Message to the Black Man. Great book. I recommend you read it. It's an awesome book. I gave it to all my children. Read this book. I also gave them what the caller mentioned. I gave them Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, which is an awesome book that lets you know we are miseducated. Even when we have our math and science skills together, we still have a European view of math and science that keeps us from understanding that we as black people are the authors of math and science. Let's go ahead and take this next slide right quick. Now, I just want to lay this out here. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan warned you that the mask of civility was going to come off and that the enemy was going to do openly what he's doing. He's been a faithful warner to black people and all the nations of the earth. He has told y'all that they were going to cut you off at some point, that Pharaoh was going to let you go. but you wanted to be accepted. And again, you're running after Gucci, Louis Vuitton. You're running after style and all these other alcohol. You are in the club turning up, trying to do Dom Perignon, and none of that is helping black people. None of that is helping black people. Some of y'all have bought this year $1,000 worth of champagne and haven't given any money to a black institution. You part of the problem. Now, let's go to the next slide. I'm gonna read you something. Now, this right here, some of y'all are not familiar, but I'm gonna introduce you to something. This is called the Holy Quran. It's called the Holy Quran. This is chapter 14, verse 22 of the Holy Quran. We call them surahs, but chapter as an English translation. Let me break it down to you. It says, the devil will say when the matter is decided, surely Allah promised you a promise of truth, and I promised you and then failed you. Didn't the enemy promise he was going to successfully integrate us into his institutions and be fair after the 60s? Has he done it? He promised and what? And then failed. And I had no authority over you except I called you and you obeyed me. See, when they call you to Gucci, call you to Louis, call you to Coach, call you to all of their little trinkets that make you feel like you somebody because you really feel inadequate. So you feel like if you're a woman, you gotta have lashes this long. You feel like you gotta have all this crazy hair everywhere because you feel inadequate, but you are adequate already. You don't even need all of that, but you feel like you need it because there's an inadequacy that the slave always feels as long as the slave is still in that mind. But it says, I cannot come to your help, nor can you come to my help. And the enemy is going to tell you that he promised you and failed you. Next slide right quick, because we ain't got long. We got about, let me see how many, we got 5 minutes. Now, I just want to lay this out to you, black people. I just want to lay this out to you. None of these people love you. I know it's hard. I know, it was a beautiful image of Kamala, first black woman president, and I know you're in love with that image. I know that we love to see an intelligent, well-spoken Ivy League brother in the White House with his Ivy League wife. You understand? Beautiful queen, and it was a good image. But that's all it was an image. And don't forget what the Bible talks about in the book of Daniel. It talks about the image being smoted, being wiped out. The image of the false image that's being put out is being wiped out because none of these people did a doggone thing for you. Now, Trump, on the other hand, is more honest. He's way more honest than the other two because he's telling you straight up, I don't like you. I'm ending anything that would help you get a federal job. I'm cutting it out. And then he blamed the crash on DEI or affirmative action, even though both people flying the helicopter and the person flying the plane were white folks. He's blaming the whole thing really on people of color and just saying it openly. I'm talking about just lying in your face because the two black folks or some would say mixed folks don't like you, and the other one is straight up against you. They don't love you. And you're not going to be able to get anything. To a large degree, it includes Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, who told you to do something for yourself, who told you to open up business and trade internationally with all the African people, but you didn't want to do it. High Yellow Negroes organized with the Garvey Must Go campaign to run Marcus Garvey out of the country. Some of y'all organized with the enemy against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You organized against the enemy against the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. You organized with the enemy against the Black Panther Party. Everybody that the enemy does not like, Negroes, they can get y'all in a room and y'all will organize against the very able to.
Elon Musk gets the nasty salute, but the ADL don't come against him. But they came against all the elected black officials that they didn't like.
Jay, the director said Elon Musk gave the Nazi salute, but the ADL didn't go after him. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So I'm just laying some things out there to you, brothers and sisters. I understand that, but the mainstream people have never told you to grow your own food. They don't give a damn if you keep going to McDonald's killing yourself, as long as you show up for the Democrats before you have your heart attack. They are on a Democratic plantation, and that's all they are. And a few of us are on the Republican plantation. But all of us as a people must get off the plantation and organize for the future of our people. You gotta organize, because as long as you're disunited, you're gonna get kicked in the butt by the Democrats, kicked in the butt by the Republicans, kicked in the butt by anybody. Elon Musk has only been a citizen he's a citizen of Canada, he's a citizen of the United States and South Africa.
30 seconds.
He came here, became a citizen, and he's already bought his citizenship and is already in the Trump administration. Elon Musk has made more progress by himself than black folk have made in 400 years. I just want you to think about that, and it's because we are still begging to be accepted by the people who hate us. I want to thank you for listening, and we will be right back at you with another episode real soon. Peace. I think your feed on Facebook or Instagram is still coming.
Yes, sir.
All right, you good? Okay. Okay. I almost had it. I started it right at 7, and I was able to kind of track myself a little better. So you good, baby?
The ADL they rolled hard on what's the name from St. Louis? Brianna, not the congressman.
Corey.
They rolled, and that brother from New York, I think.
Jamal. I'm trying to think of Jamal somebody. They actually got a girl named Donna Edwards in a couple of election cycles back. They got her. So they target people who, and she abstained on a vote to give Israel aid. She abstained. She didn't vote in the affirmative. She didn't vote negative, and that they went after her. You got to be in lockstep. And here's the thing: all of the preachers are invited to, quote, go to the Holy Land. So they come there with a delegation, and the Jewish people, make much ado over them to win them over. If you become the SGA president of a college, or the student body president, student body association president, you get a free trip to the the APEC thing. Every black.
My nephew, Claude is a big time preacher in New Iberia. He had to Star David all over his church. And when the Jews had their celebration of how many years Israel was in existence, that was last year. Man, he went all out on social media. But he never speaks about police brutality in New Iberia. But he go all out whenever there's a celebration. And he's I think Baptist or I forgot the other one, the other church. But why? That's amazing. It's amazing. You can't tell me nothing about the Jews or anything else,
Well, yeah, and keep in mind the Talmud says that Jesus is boiling is in hell, boiling in hot excrement. That's what the Talmud says, and they call Jesus a monkey because they know he was a black man, so they refer to Jesus as a monkey.
Right.
This is how they do it in Israel. So I tell people all the time, well, the issue we got with y'all Muslim is Jesus. No, it ain't, because your friend is Rabbi Weinstein.
Wow.
And if you, but ask Rabbi Weinstein or Goldberg or whoever it is, ask them how they feel about Jesus. And why does the Talmud claim that Mary is a whore? Because y'all say, oh, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Right?
Right.
Hail Mary, Mother of God. Right?
Right.
Come on, man. Now, y'all on one page as far as Mary, but they're saying she's a whore.
Wow.
And that Jesus is in hell boiling in hot excrement. That means pee and doo-doo.
Yeah.
That's boiling and that's what you eat. That's what the Talmud said.
Yeah.
So that now we never said that. The Holy Quran says that he received a word from God. That's what it says. It says the gospel is what he received. It says it in the Holy Quran, and that the truth that is in the gospel you can live by. It says it right there in the book.
The only thing separate, even if you want same type of situation, but you can't say that, otherwise everybody out.
The Israelis are the greatest followers that Hitler has ever had.
Yeah.
They are the ones who are keeping the legacy of genocide and apartheid alive, Jewish people. Even the situation, the setup of apartheid in South Africa, I was told, was really set up and orchestrated by Jewish people. Because the Oppenheimer group, that big business,
Yeah.
they do all their business from South Africa, all those diamonds, and they literally have hit teams. Dr. Umar Johnson was saying that they have hit teams that if you try to get diamonds out, right, that they literally kill you. So yeah, it's bad, bro.
Yes, it is.
It's bad. But yeah, I hopefully in him too long. But like I say, we can whine about it if we want to. But the bottom line of it is that we got to do something for ourselves. You're always gonna get caught red-handed. You're always gonna be boycotting somebody. The issue I got is after the Montgomery bus boycott, they shouldn't have asked to hire black drivers and to let us ride anywhere. We should have asked, so since y'all can't stay open without us, give everything to us and let us take it over. See what I'm saying? Because you can't do it without us. So give us the whole thing. You see what I'm saying? And there were a lot of cities where we had our own buses because we were not treated well by them. So we had our own bus lines. Now in Baton Rouge, there were 2 black bus companies that were picking up black folks. The licenses for those black bus companies were canceled by the Metro Council. Just outright canceled. So that they couldn't go around and pick up their people. So then we had to deal with the indignity of being told we had to sit on the back. So then once they forced you to them, you see, it was something.
I'm hearing that the new mayor is basically turning out to be almost MAGA, even though he said he wasn't.
Well, he's bringing back all those special divisions on the police department that were causing all those problems.
The grave cave.
Yeah, he said we're not having that. He said that grave cave won't happen on his watch. That's what he said.
Well, something. Well, something.
They'll just choose another building.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah, they'll just choose another building. You know, because that even if you close that down, that's not the only building in Baton Rouge.
Right.
You see. So I'm gonna ease on down the road.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm gonna put that show up because they supposed to have a lot of different rules going back to how it used to be on YouTube. So we could try them.
Okay.
So put them up on YouTube.